everybody, welcome to a quick update. It's gonna be a very short update, not a very long video, but it's on because I really wanted to do this. I didn't get the chance, but this is my analysis and my quick update on major hurricane Kristy Category 5, and the NHC did bump it up to 169.26, but my latest analysis, if I can find it here, my latest analysis, it upgraded to 165 mile per hour with 9.2 millibars west at 13 mile per hour, and this is actually a little bit of an undertake from what the observations are looking at. And just to take a little bit of a look closer, you can just see how clear this looks like a Category 5 for sure, and it looks actually quite significant with this very Michael-like open eye and clear sea. It's like a pinwheel effect. Now, looking in the recent frames, obviously they made the upgrade, but in the latest frames, just want to pause it here and run through these. You can see how the convection is regained over time, and the symmetry has reorganized. There are in between instances where there's sort of cloud cover, but the eye temperature is likely actually around 25-26 degrees Celsius from the infrared observations, especially if you look at the polar observation, polar orbiting satellites, rather than the geostationary ones. You'd get a better angle and observation for what the temperatures are, and this was measured with Hurricane Kirk, where they found a better temperature using the other satellite observation. So again, very clear, distinct, getting some of these minus 80 bands coming in, a little bit of a minus 79 ring, and some little weakened parts that are still yet to recover, that a little bit on the minus 75 side. But the biggest factor that is produced the observation to a Category 5 bump is because of the clear symmetrical nature of the eye, and the eye is not as symmetrical right now because the new convections can push the eye around, but you can see its clarity. It's how well developed and symmetrical it generally is, with the temperature difference being pretty significant. Now this stadium-like effect will be amazing to see as well. Better playing this because this shows clearly the pinwheel effect. We can just see that clear eye just jogging by, and how clear it is as it moves by. You can see the sea surface, and this is clear definition, and you can clearly see a well-defined tight CDO that wraps. You can see the more intense bands that are appearing, like those little striated effect. You can clearly see like the outflow is really good, and the system is to be pulled northwards. Alright, on here I can't quite use the same feature as on the phone, but you can clearly see so I'm going to use the wind dynamics to show how this is going to get pulled. So the NHC cone clearly shows an upwards movement, and it still remains Category 4 at a pretty high latitude, and remains a hurricane at pretty high latitude as well. But then it rapidly weakens at this point, and this little slump upwards is a large temperature difference between 29 and about 24-25 degrees Celsius, and this is mainly caused by this mid-latitude cyclone that is got a front right here, and this will steer the system up northwestwards as it gets attached. It's got the propensity to move northwards and poleward anyways as it intensifies, but as it latches towards that front, it will feel the effects of the front wrapping around and towards the circulation. Latest on soft DVTO and Sims DVTO, obviously this is like our best satellite observations, and you clearly see the deviations. The NHC line is right here. These obviously are our best observations, actually quite a lot higher, and some of the less accurate models down here, but these are the definitive lines that push the NHC upgrade upward towards Category 5. But specifically looking at this is very interesting because this is not like the NHC are not upgrading this, but clearly Sims DVTO and NSOF DVTO are our best observations before SAB and TAV were upgraded. SAB's quite far behind. TAV is seeing more better visualization, and the pressure is actually lower. I'm surprised how high the NHCs went with the pressure, but the TAV has this observation But then the more updated recent observations, or the better sat fixes that generally do a better job with these East Pacific, West Pacific systems, are going very high and towards 175 and 914, 917, so about 916, probably like a 915.9, so like a 916 millibar average, which clearly demonstrates how high the intensity, because it's showing a 152 knot and a 149 knots, and that's sort of like a 150 sort of average, like, and that is very significant because the NHC is obviously only going for 140 knots, but the question is, will they upgrade again? And this clearly shows that they have a raw Dvorak at 7.4, 7.3, and that is actually, in fairness, like, despite like the raw value, the adjustment and the final values, like these values are much lower than what the actual raw is. But one thing to take in note always is the raw Dvorak for these higher end category 5 systems is a more accurate representation towards the final intensity of the systems always. It's always a case with category 5 systems, but yeah, and we can clearly see that demonstrated here. Right, well, the last thing I wanted to show was just a couple of visual imageries, so you can clearly see this in the latest frame, really. So like we see this minus 84-ish, like minus 80 to minus 85 ring, I believe. This is minus 75 to minus 85, minus 80, sorry. But this ring here, like, there's a little bit of weakness here, the southwest side, but this southeast side is very tight, and this northeast quadrant is very expansive, probably the largest quadrant. And we can see a symmetrical perfect CDO with a tight temperature difference and a clear eye, and the ring structure is in is almost circular to the point where it's very similar to Kirk, where the convection and the eye, the weight shown is the same way that we managed to deduct Kirk as a category 5. So the same applies here. And this is one of my, this is starting to become one of my favorite tools, like GLM observations, and we're gonna see the shear obviously is very low, but this is like such a good observation to see the size of the system and representation. So we can kind of see a 200 kilometer sort of radii, I guess, especially from the north side. Actually, the southern side is a little bit more bare of convection, and there is a bit of a dry slot, but we can clearly see the way that this system has grown in size. One of the hardest things to do is get a really accurate value of the water vapor, because around here we see like minus 20 here, and that's what I say, like category 5s, minus 20 is enough to prove that it's category 5. This isn't even minus 20, this is minus 22-ish on average within some of these latest frames, and we're still categorizing this as a category 5. And Kirk, obviously, this is why I say Kirk could have been much stronger than what it was, because Kirk had a water vapor imagery value of minus 13, 10 degrees lower than what this is. And obviously I get it, right, there's a bit of a cumulus field, there's a little bit of cirrus that's reflecting the infrared rays, beams off and reducing and like increasing the value higher than what it should be, or I should say lower than what it should be, because it should be higher at a lot, essentially be around minus 15 is what it could actually be. It's unlikely to be that big of a difference. If we're seeing a minus 22 average, we're probably seeing about minus 18 as low as what the water vapor imagery value is. But with Kirk, we saw like values so low towards minus 13, and I'm really surprised how low the NHC went with that. But this is the dry slot, and you can see this little bit of I guess striated sort of effect, a little feather effect, and the drier slot is deep in this southern side that's kind of been wrapped around. But also this sort of striated effect, like especially in the close side of the system, and the way it fans out this way also shows good outflow. So this outflow is modified, and it's preventing the system from weakening, and that's why the auroral replacement cycle did not it did not induce any sort of entrainment from the south side where it could have been weak potentially, it consolidated the entire time and managed to strengthen. Alright, so that's all I have to say for now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more to say, especially with all the other tropical systems. I'll just do a quick shout out, a quick mention to all the other systems. We have Tropical Storm Trami out there. I'll just give my analysis updates on these. So Tropical Storm Trami, and my estimate analysis has this around 60 mile per hour, or should I say 50 knots. And this system is definitely something that could intensify in typhoon. Cyclone Dan is about to make landfall in the near Paradeep in India, and this is a cyclone that could be around 70 knots, 80 mile per hour, as it is likely strengthened between that period where they give the last update to now. And we have Invest 99 or 98W. This is a huge convective mess, but it's a long striped band, and 99W in the top tip is actually much more better in its organization and its structure on the lower levels as opposed to this. But we will see, because one of these is expected to take over and essentially become the bigger dominant storm, and it's actually now in later GFS runs has shown more of a Luzon track, and it's significant track as well, should I say. Alright, so I'll catch you guys in another update.